of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Deputy Clerk Treasurer, can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Council President Director Heidi,
Here.
Council Vice President Mike Wolfski,
Here.
Ed Lau,
Here.
Anna P. Here. Joe Seeker.
Here. Okay, consent agenda. Any questions? I'm assuming everyone's had a chance to review it. Actually, a little shorter than normal.
I do have one question.
Please shoot.
I saw Brightview, the town hall landscaping with $2,242, and I was just wondering what they did. Did they replace plantings or did they?
I'm sorry, I did, she was asking me a question at the same time that you were saying.
Town hall landscape, right?
All right.
Yes, yeah, they replaced the tree.
Tree trees and several shrubs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, 3 trees.
Looking through the county data that Erica provided, the one thing I saw that was kind of upside down was the insurance. And then, of course, the next item I read is the introduction for the movement of funds to cover that. So that was one thing I saw that was really upside down on the budget. I think we've had some pretty good claims here this year, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, I don't know the specifics, but. All right, anybody else? I will entertain a motion.
So move.
Second. I have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 5 ayes have it. Citizen comments? Staff reports, chief.
I'd like to say that Halloween was very successful. We had guys that were detailed out there, and then our new guys that were actually working the road that night got to experience for the first time something that we've been doing for over a decade that Chief Crook put into place. We were actually driving around with lights on, passing out candy, and it was kind of nice, the feedback that they gave. They'd never experienced it from the agencies they came from, and they were thrilled to be able to get out and interact with kids and engage that way. So that was nice to hear that. We are fully staffed. We have our most recent hire. He will not start until after the 1st of January for personal reasons, and we're okay with that and understand. But we are fully staffed as of now, so
Okay. Is there anything else?
it is.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, I don't think it's any secret now, I'm talking public, but I know last time I heard Carl was taking 5. I know state police had formally called and said, hang on tight. So I put 33.5 years in there, but I know the bleeding's pretty bad over there right now.
Well, and we're getting good officers, so it's not even like, it's ones that are just disgruntled and want to go and come over here and complain. We are actually getting good quality officers, so please to have them.
Gotcha. Okay. Mr. Lipscomb.
I did want to talk about health insurance a little bit, beyond, what you mentioned, findings and things of this year. We are looking at our renewals right now. We have 2 lasers and we're probably lasered at, possibly the highest rate since we've been self-insured between those 2 lasers, like close to $500,000 of lasers between the 2. Which is part of what we projected and we guys adopted a budget. That's why we put that like 1.5 million in there, which aligns with where we're projected to be at. But we are probably going to look at some different insurance options in the coming year, and we need to bring together a committee to talk about that. Just to look at other fixed cost options and what may be out there. I'm not super interested in exploring going back to fully insured, but have looked at some narrow network options with wraps and things like that, that could kind of control and reduce costs significantly, but don't anticipate those lasers going away either, so I think it's gonna be ongoing cost. We are looking at potentially and discussing moving our spec rate on reinsurance. We've moved it once, but talking about moving it to 50. we only had 3 employees hit spec, 2 of them are those 2 lasers and dropped, our renewal by 6 figures to move that, so. Those are options we're looking around, but wanted to throw it out there because it's that time of year and. It's a difficult year. We've had a few run of difficult years, but particularly difficult year, and I don't see that.
Well, as it grows town statistically, that's probably more likely to happen as we add more communities later.
Correct, and. If we get 50 members on the plan, a lot more opens up to us than below 50 members. That's kind of threshold, a lot of TPAs and reinsurers will look at you as 50 and above.
Right.
And 50 and below, there's 3 to 5 reinsurers that will look at you. We asked 10 reinsurers, only 2 were willing to quote out of the 10. Apex is meeting with some other connections with larger clients to see if they would be willing to make an exception for us to take a look for future renewals as well. So next year, we're gonna pretty much have to be, we're just gonna throw everything at the wall and see what sticks and try to come up with more options. So we're just in a tricky spot, but if anybody wants to talk more about that after the meeting, happy to. If anybody wants to look at the numbers where they're coming in, I'll email those out. And then we can talk about it too, or after the meeting, whatever.
Anything else?
That's kind of the biggest thing right now.
Okay.
It's one of them.
Any questions for Ben or the chief? Joe? Yeah? Edward? I'm sorry, Michael. All right. Next item on the agenda is our proclamation for Senior Airman Ashton Goodman. So I'd say, we'll go ahead and step down here. And we signatures are right, I think, right off Allison's left.
It's outside of the frame, so it can be signed.
What have I done step down here?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that was here. I'm trying to run you guys down for here. Oh, no, thanks for coming.
Well, good.
He doesn't get out of Shady Pines very often.
It's just. Thank you.
You betcha, you know that, you betcha. So. Sisters?
I'm her sister, that's her mother.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's get some sisters.
I'll take it.
Let me read the proclamation. Senior Airman Ashton Gooden was a distinguished 2006 graduate of Warren Central High School. Whereas she answered the call to serve her nation with honor and courage as a member of the United States Air Force. Whereas Senior Goodman deployed twice to Afghanistan to support overseas contingency operations. Whereas during her deployments, she served with distinction in the meritorious regions of Afghanistan, delivering critical medical supplies and food to remote villages. Whereas she acted as a compassionate liaison between the United States Air Force and women in local villages, offering support, comfort, and building bridges of trust. Whereas in recognition of her unwavering dedication, the United States Air Force honored her legacy by naming the Senior Airman Ashton Goodman Communications Center at the Pope Army Airfield, North Carolina in June of 2024. Whereas the Indiana Military Hall of Fame has further acknowledged her exceptional service, professionalism, and sacrifice, and will induct her posthumously on November 9th, 2025 at Fort Benjamin Harrison, Indianapolis, Indiana. Whereas on May 26th, 2009, Senior Airman Goodman made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, embodying the highest ideals of courage and selflessness. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Cumberland Town Council that on November 5th, 2025, shall be recognized throughout the town as Senior Airman Ashton Goodman Memorial Day. So proclaim this 5th day of 2025 at the town of Cumberland by all members of the council of the town. Thank you. I'd like to say,
Would you want to say a couple?
Just thank you very much.
no problem, you okay?
I'm gonna speak for you, man.
Yes, please.
I was a Vietnam era veteran. And when those kids came home, people spit on us. They were rude to people, and I was not in combat, I did not go to combat, I was trained, didn't go, but I was there that era. This young lady, as I researched her, PetSmart down here.
Yep.
Very vivacious, very beautiful young woman, and I happen to have a son that's also passed. And when I go to see his grave, I see her marker. That's what really got me rolling, but 7 or 8 years ago. And so we want to take the time, and we are having a banquet in your family's honor on Saturday night. But what this has done, she was very interested in journalism and the work that she was doing with the women in Afghanistan. And then, of course, we lost her delivering medical supplies and food into the mountains with her team. This whole thing about, we can never forget our young people that serve. She represents all of those men and women that have ultimately lost their lives. But in our community, we're going to remember this child. We're going to continue the scholarship, and we're going to make sure that everybody remembers who this young woman was. And I can't wait to meet her dad. And I guess there are 12 of you coming to the banquet.
We have a lot of kids.
We're getting more chicken. I call them, so.
Can you catch them? Come
No, but anyway, thank you, and again, to have a building named after you in the military, and you're not a general, that's amazing. And my understanding was she was scheduled, when she was home from deployment, to go to NCO school. Very bright kid, and to make it even better, one of her comrades, in Afghanistan is flying in from California to be part of our ceremony on Saturday. God bless you, and thank you for this board to recognize this wonderful young woman. And the more, I don't know if you saw the article in the paper. Really, she's such a beautiful kid. She was my son Joel, and they're all looking down at us right now.
That's right. God bless.
God bless everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, it's been a long time since a woman gave you a phone number. Oh, you're, that's good, I'm sorry.
Yeah, hey Jeff, we got something for you.
I'm sorry?
We got something for you. Yeah.
Unless you have an opinion on the, coming.
Okay, old business, consideration of ordinance 2025-17, 2026 salary ordinance. Has there been anything changed on this before since the introduction, sir?
No, sir, it's the same as introduced to you at your last meeting. So, happy to rehash any of it or answer any questions.
And I believe this has an assistant town manager for public works, is that correct, Mr.
That's
Davis?
correct.
Very had spirited conversation.
We did. We did it back.
All right, any questions on the salary ordinance? Everything else is pretty well the same, the vacation time looks like the same, the benefit bonus, and the officers would convert the uniform stuff over to quartermaster.
That's correct. All the changes were noted in my memo and.
Right.
Slight adjustment to 457.
3% across the board raise, which is good.
The maintenance technician for public works, like incentive pay.
Right.
And those were really kind of large components.
I will take a motion.
So move.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of passing 2025-17, 2026 salary ordinance, signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, next old business, Ms. Olson, Consideration of ordinance 2025-18 adopting a traffic calming policy.
Yes, this was introduced at your last meeting, nothing has changed since last introduction.
Does anybody have any questions regarding traffic calming policy or the ordinance? I know they've already started doing some work, is that correct?
We have a quote coming to you, to their new business.
Okay, excellent, thank you. All right, any questions for Ms. Olson? We'll take a motion. Second. I have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. 5-0. New business. Potentiating for Erica tonight, I believe it's gonna be. Correct. All right. So, introduction, the ordinance of, 2025-19 additional appropriations.
For our introduction this evening, we have the ordinance that Erica puts together each year for additional appropriations. Just appropriating funds that were not originally appropriated in the budget.
Okay. And like I said, looking at that, most that's the insurance issue, correct?
Mostly there's a variety of though too, some of it is. The rest of it's things you guys have approved along the way, like the portion of it's the comp plan, which we talked about. We didn't budget for, but we intended to appropriate. Some of the IT services you guys talked about, some of the little bit coming in. Some of it's the rebalancing of where we're spending and prioritizing based off just shifting revenues. We haven't been using Riverboat very much in the past, so we're appropriating some for Riverboat towards sidewalk projects, but. Some of it is appropriating that reinsurance from insurance. One thing I'll add to that is. Excess reinsurer still owes us close to $400,000 in reimbursement, so. A lot of this will be covered when that comes in, hoping that comes in before the end of the year, but. We've nudged them on that because that's a large amount of reimbursement that we're waiting on, so. Erica did not have a chance to put together a memo on it, but she said, you guys have any specific questions or things that we're not able to answer them, Allison.
She will refer to the guys for the next meeting, probably.
I think that was her intent too.
Yes, sounds like it.
So, in the park bond one is a requirement with the bond ordinance that we have to appropriate something each year. You guys did this in your appropriation last year, so you have to appropriate that $100,000. Whether you spend it or not, that'll just revert back into the fund and appropriate funds next year for park edit, so.
Does anybody have any additional questions for Ben or for Mrs. Gregg on 2025-19? Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Olson, consideration of the ITS quote.
Yes, as I said earlier, this is a part of the ordinance that you just approved, the traffic calming. This is the project that we've been working on Valley Brook Drive, Landfall by Design. We decided to go ahead and have it quoted to see what it would cost to have our traffic services company just do it themselves instead of having us do everything, and it's pretty comparable to what they've had.
It wasn't as bad as I thought.
And this is to do everything, include the stop lines and the crosswalks and everything. So they threw everything at it, and it's in the total amount of $37,896.06.
Does anybody have any questions on this quote? This is mainly for Valley Brook Drive and Main Thoroughfare, right? There are no questions, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to accept this ITS not to exceed the amount of $31,896.80.
I'll second.
I'm gonna do a quick amendment, it's 37,896.80.
That's it.
Thanks. Right, give it a couple extra thousand, leave it to, all right,
That's it.
all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Hodges, consideration of the 2026 CCMG program assistance.
This is a consideration for the agreement with BFNS for the CCMG assistance for them designing the roads and the help in the grants and middle.
This is on the agenda, you need a motion.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, this is the one. Okay, originally this wasn't on the agenda. We'll need to do a motion to set aside the rules and to hear this for consideration this evening. So I'll take a motion on that.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second. I have a motion and a second on suspending the rules to hear this. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, sorry, Mr. Rogers, go right ahead.
This is the consideration for the agreement with BFNS for the CCMG program assistance. It's for them to design the roads, help the grant submittal process. The agreement would be to not exceed $95,500. That's right. Yeah, $95,500. Have to take any questions on
Did council already get a chance to review the contract?
It was in the fact that went out, this wasn't on the agenda, so it was in the attachment.
Yes. I haven't looked at the contract itself.
Okay.
Is it a reason or?
No. Because it wasn't on the agenda originally, I didn't look at it just because I was flipping through things, but we can look at it.
The thing I do love about BFNS, I wish everybody wrote the contracts this way, there, it's just straightforward and easy. Anybody else, while the council's reviewing, so if you have any questions, anybody else have any, questions or issues on this, they'd like to discuss them, Mr. Hall? Good, Joe? You good? Okay. Mike?
Yeah, we've seen this a couple of times.
We have.
Yeah.
We have.
This looks like.
Pretty standard. I love their contracts, I mean, they're really straightforward, what's everybody else would do?
They have things that we would usually require.
Okay.
So what?
Is it having not exceed?
Did that first.
Yeah, I think Mr. Hodges said 95,000 something.
95.5.
Yeah, 95.5.
Yeah.
Is it in here though? That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's on that. Where is it?
I saw 49 something.
Appendix B is 49,000.
Okay, 49. Yeah, I see the 49,000 for fee schedule summary on the construction inspection.
Appendix D,
Finish D, right?
A1. The total fee not to exceed 95,500.
See it, appendix A,
That's
Appendix D, item A.
consider. Oh, yeah, that was you.
Oh, yeah, I was looking here, never mind, they buried it right in there, didn't they?
And,
Yeah.
yeah, 12 word.
Sorry, yep, page 1 of 3 on appendix D, very top there. I didn't see it either, I missed it also.
The layout's weird, what we were looking at was construction, inspection if awarded.
They usually have it separated off as a final total.
Yeah, so item 2 would be what we'd be guaranteed to pay. And then item 3 is what we would pay if awarded for, and not to exceed for construction inspection.
So the amount we're approving though is 95.5.
95.5 would be the not to exceed for both design.
And construction.
Just bid assistance and construction inspection.
Okay,
But the
so,
item 3 is basically performance and phase based, so they want to be paid that 49,000 unless it gets awarded and it's inspected, and that's still be due to not see based off their hourly rates in appendix D1.
there's no other questions, I have a motion.
Move.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the contract with BFS not to exceed 95,500. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's happened, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, last item on our agenda is consideration of resolution 2025-12, approving publication of unsafe building hearing. Ms. Owens.
I hope you've got some time. This is gonna be a long one.
Okay, thank you.
Resolution 2025-12, it literally is just, authorizing staff to public, to run the notice, to hold the hearing for the unsafe building. We've attempted notice in all the ways prescribed under the statute that we're required to do. They've been returned we attempted the last known address and they've moved out from that address. And so the statute allows then, for us to be able to publish notice through the newspaper. And that's what we're requesting permission for tonight. So if you approve this resolution, simply we will run notice, schedule a public hearing, run notice for it, as prescribed in the statute, and it'll connect.
Thank you for the memo also, that's helpful. I assume once we do all the legal hurdles, we can go ahead and hear this in absentia, even if they're not here, correct?
Yes.
So is this something that needs to be torn down, I'm assuming, or?
Yes, so the structure, there was a fire a couple of years ago
Mhm. Okay,
and nothing's happened with it, so.
was it made safe, like,
It's boarded up, but
okay,
it's
okay,
a
yeah.
done.
Okay,
Is it owned by a bank or an insurance company?
Nope, it's an individual.
Okay.
And so we've sent notice to that address and it's been returned. We've sent to the addresses we were able to come up with. They've been returned. We tried to hand deliver notice through the police department and they were notified by the owner of the property that that person has moved out with no forwarding address.
what about property taxes on it?
I mean, that was the first notice that was sent. And so the property tax card shows it going to the home address.
Okay. So there's no possibility of somebody buying it and rehabbing it, or we will have to incur the cost of tearing it down, or we don't know.
At this point, we haven't been, we're trying to notify the owner so that we can have a hearing. And then at the hearing,
Yeah, we'll go in it and see, okay.
Well, the hearing, then you'll determine whether or not the order stands, and then if they can't tear it down, then it would be the council would have to decide whether or not you're gonna have that done, and then we would put a lien on the property for payment if we had to.
I also just want to caution, since you guys are the hearing authority, any substantive questions that you have, it really should be reserved for the hearing, because you guys are supposed to be impartial and really at that hearing where you really get to flesh out the questions. Today is really about making sure that we follow all the steps under the statute to make sure that we can get service as required by the different statutes. And so for us to do service by publication, we have to get approval from the hearing authority to do that first. And so that's why this is before you tonight.
There's no other questions, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion. I'll say.
Wait, you know, watch it. All right, there's no discussion. All those in favor of passing resolution 2025-12, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Christine, you get a motion.
Thank you.
All right, I don't see any other new business, is that correct, Mr. Lips?
That's correct.
Okay, councilor comments?
I saw, where we paid someone, to troubleshoot our street lights, and I was just wondering if we found anything out.
Erco, Cal,
ERCOT's out to. There's, I believe, 5 lights on the west end of town that the breakers weren't tripped, but they weren't on. I don't recall exactly what was wrong with them, but they fixed them, whatever it was.
So all the lights should be on now.
They should be.
I get it, no, it's been a continuous problem, it's not your problem.
there's a larger wiring project there in general, so that's part of what we're asking Erco to look at over time.
I know it's a mess.
So we have a lot of low gauge wires underneath the road that have been the main problem in the past. As those wires aren't rated for essentially the drawdown, so. Normally, one of the times we see stuff arrive be happening in the next coming weeks as we ship weather, and also as we start displaying our Christmas lights and stuff, that normally teases out this problem, so. Anticipate Erco would come back out and look at something, but. My understanding is that that was a wiring issue as well, because the breakers. Were not tripped and were not bad, so. I don't know, it's, the original project just wasn't done. Well,
Yeah, I know, I hear quite a bit about the lights, and it does too, having Randy down there,
Yeah,
on your draw.
it's- It's kind of a mess, like,
correct,
at some point in time, I guess we're gonna have to bite the bullet.
yeah, I think some of that. Once it's fully diagnosed, won't necessarily be too bad, as long as they can pull the wires through existing conduit and stuff and do the upgrades, but some of the panel upgrades maybe where more of the cost is at, but. One thing we talked about too is untying less to, like, it's normally you have 2 to 3 poles per breaker. So like anytime one's hit, you're guaranteed to lose 2 to 3 until one is repaired. So we talked about separating those out onto separate breakers as well.
Even the ones that go out on the breakers, I mean, wires,
Correct, it's not uniform for a section, there's 4 or 5 panels that run the entire streetscape throughout, so. In fact, I think that one issue may have been, or one of the issues been, closing the loop on one of the knockdown poles to get the other ones to connect. So.
sense. All right, any other council comments?
So, concrete,
Winter, this.
the 3rd week of November, so we start.
2 weeks now.
Okay, anything else? Future agenda items.
Everett's quoted out, our own paint machines on a couple of items, what we've been looking at, and we've talked about trail and around town in general, so we start bringing that in the house. And I met and went through some of those yesterday. I asked them to quote this new system, which I'm not sure is gonna be affordable or not, that is more geolocated and that's the striping and, has accompanying software, so you can take a drone shot, lay it all out, and then it will track based off GPS. Current option that he has is a laser guided striping machine and a separate pre-marking machine that's GPS located, which is more common with how it's done now, but there's this newer technology that has been the price as well, but hoping to bring one of those options back to you guys at next meeting. As well as other policy updates of additional appropriation coming back. Well, so.
Do we still have a legislative workshop today? And I mean, also have to get that, I think do a short session as well.
No, they're going to, yeah, so they're coming back early, we'll probably stay in session with like business, but. I think they call it for beginning of December, is that something?
Yeah, first meeting.
Yeah, that's what.
I have not seen that, so thank you.
Yeah, they're planning on going in over, the redistricting issue, then basically staying in session.
Just running.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's no other business, you do want to have a short work session, is that correct?
Yeah, I just wanted to be able to have a short conversation.
So I'll take a motion to adjourn the council meeting.
So moved.
Second. You're on.
I wanted to bring it up because it's come up in a lot of conversations recently, and we still stream it and it's a great thing. And I know there's been a very mix of feedback on council, that it's come up more frequently, particularly, German church building, and so. I know Ed and Mike, you and I have talked about it, and we talked about it, and came up with a comp plan. Wanting to do something there, but I also know we've had feedback to not do something there as well. So I wanted to just kind of get a little bit of direction on that, but also talk about the things that we are doing, which is more, we don't have control of the land, but they aren't. They are doing what they need to as far as different issues, so we are reporting them for code enforcement. They have to report to the health department. Please spend more time than what we'd like over there at that property, over the past year. There are liens being filed on the property as well, and the current owner's arrangement to have their taxes pulled off the tax roll from Peterborough and the city was that they had to work with the town, and that's not happening. There were years that were reapproaching Peterborough to ask about that and talk with city county, I'm sorry, Paul Hart a little bit about that as well last week when Councilor Lau and myself met, but it is a building that we know requires a lot of work. We know, well, what we've been told recently is her asking price is $2 million, and that's anything that we want to do. It's not something that staff are right now, because the building, we also know it requires $2 million in stabilization before you can even do a project there. So a full project's probably $10 million.
Yeah.
So I do think it's important that we keep doing the things that we are doing with the liens and code enforcement, those items and all. It's kind of one to Robert, just because I said getting mixed feedback. So obviously not asking any decisions here, just guidance.
Probably coming to the point where, I said this before, we may just have to help the building.
You know,
It wasn't popular the first time. we
Right.
heard it. But still, I mean, we obviously can't spend $10 million. And it's just gonna keep getting worse until it'll fall in on itself at some point.
It's not really that.
We're not, and I'm all about saving stuff and old stuff, but that building. If we can't hold the owner responsible to live up to their end of the agreement and start soon. Then we need to pick a different route to take.
So what do we have to do? Like to be able to take title to it, or like,
there's a variety of things, I mean. Pay a purchase, which doesn't really make sense. I mean, eminent
I'm
domain.
talking not purchasing it.
Correct, like eminent domain is still essentially a purchase because you get the course assessment, I think that'll be a high dollar value as
Yeah, you still
well.
have to give them whatever the course says it's worth.
Correct, and so me and Christina have talked about it, and we think that'd probably be maybe comparable because they're doing it based off the land value of the corner of the lot in the area. The city can pull it off the tax rolls if it goes back onto the tax rolls, and that's probably more lower hanging fruit. Their issue with eminent domain is it has to stay public use for 30 years if you exercise eminent domain or a transfer and things like that. But the one that's probably the most realistic as far as having land control over it is if it goes to tax sale angling from that, because that'd be the dollar. But if you had it in control, then you could work with private partners. We've had private partners in the past that would work with a community in the city, but not a not-for-profit and others. And once we're out of Utica, you have redevelopment authority, which incentives and everything side. Community center or something like that, still not likely to pencil. You need a for-profit partner that is gonna have to wait, and you're probably still talking a large incentive package around flipping it into something, but I think, I don't remember if we're on 8 or 9 years, and I think we figured it out the other night since TWG came in and the church left, so. And we have met with the city for a couple of years now, because Christine and I originally went in 4.5 years ago and said, hey, they transferred this property basically during COVID for $1. Christine's like, we have an obligation for their incentives, right, and stuff to occupy this. The city at that time was basically like, no. And then we pushed them a couple more times, no, and then a couple of years later, they came back and said yes. And TWG basically was like, well, we'll just pay back our incentive rather than try to do something with the church, so it feels a little bit like a bait switch type situation. Whether you get first senior living and incentives that you get. So.
I would think the city would want us to tear it down.
It's hard to say, you know, there's different politics you're dealing with. Completely different groups of politicians and things now. It was part of, you still have some of the same staff and mental staff and gone too. But I mean, we had Ben Hunter there, and then we had David Ray, and the redistricting all hard, so it's fresh issue. MVH, I think he's willing to help, however, city at one point said they come to the table with dollars, but the current owner doesn't seem very interested in working with anybody unless they want to give them $2 million. So. And I'm not sure that the city is going to just give them $2 million. So.
So right now, there's nothing to really do, other than let the wheels do what they're naturally doing, taxes and other things, is that correct?
Well, I'm saying that's what we are doing, but I'm saying if their staff would just like a consensus, if there's more that you want us to recommendation one way or another, not saying it's for one thing from half you guys and another from half you guys, so trying to get good understanding. How far into it do we actually want to go right now? Do we want to develop, put any money into planning your strategy, or do we just want to stay the course of trying to go after the taxes, the liens, those type of items?
Stay the course.
Yeah, I just feel like it would really, the community would really be questioning us after all we went through to save it.
Yeah, we hear mixed feedback from the community. There's a variety of things. Some people still really want to say that. We hear others saying they wish they wouldn't at this point too. This mixed bag. Anything historical like that is a big challenge. German Church Road is named after St. John's Church. It's been the gateway to Cumberland for a long time. So it's just, so it's tricky when you don't own it, and if you do own it, you have more tools, but there's still a lot of unknowns there. So, and there's no way responsibly that I think we can recommend the $2 million approach.
Yeah.
So.
No, we can't buy it, but if there's a way to acquire it, at least try to find.
Say, if it goes to tax bills, that's the only way it would potentially financially make sense to acquire it. I think even for that negotiation, if that happens, it have to be asking the city to financially participate in moving a project there, even with us exiting Utica. It's like we said, I think we know stabilizing it alone, doing remediation issues that have gotten worse because it's been sitting open air is $2 million. We know that.
Yeah.
To do a project on top of that, it's probably that somewhere between another $5-10 million. So. That's gonna be hard to make pencil with a private partner because it's gonna need incentives. And depending on what it is, TIF probably wouldn't generate that much on that site.
I'm reading between the lines.
Well, TIF's got its own issues now, Senate Bill 1, how they're gonna deal with that as far as, property taxes.
Yeah. Which separately, that's getting a little bit addressed, but there's still gonna be a reduction to your point because
Correct.
homestead, so. And then it'd be something where you'd probably be looking at like abatement and other variety of things. It may be. That's all very speculative, so just right now.
It's not approved for rate across yet.
No,
Right now,
Yeah.
it's. Yeah, right now, I'm just looking for a consensus of stay the course of what we're doing now, or additional to that, so I know. Realtors contact us on that, and things like that too, so we're obviously keeping pulse on all that, yes, people that we're connected with, brokers and realtors, but. My understanding is they've been advised that. They're probably not gonna do it for that price, cause. It's pretty much only gas stations that are gonna wanna pay that, and it's for the land to demolish it, and the realtors are gonna say. You're gonna have a really hard time doing that because of what the precedent already is on that point. So.
I will say stay the course.
I agree. For now, yeah.
Joe?
Would be great to have a book club there, but.
Joe's.
I know there's a window broken next to German Church Road.
Yeah, it's all, they've been reporting it to. All of them's been reported to the city and code enforcement, health department. They have boarding issues and other things, they're not following boarding ordinances, same thing on the homes that are owned on the second. Same on there, so.
Since we're talking about German Church of Washington, gateway to our city, any news on the old Walgreens?
Everybody does approach them and said the rent's too high, because they want to sublet it and keep it, and everybody that we know has approached them and said what they're asking is not realistic. I had a gym operator that wanted to go in there that has gyms and Fishers and Westfield, I think on the Cardinal, so that the overhead that Walgreens wants for that spot is higher than what they're paying in all those other locations, so. There is interest, it's just they won't sell it, which.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people want to own it, or they want affordable lease, which.
Yeah, and the sublease is just because Walgreens doesn't want to let go.
Yeah.
And if anybody goes in there to do anything, is gonna spend so much money on it, and with the sublease, they could nothing back when they leave.
That's exactly right, so.
All right, just curious issue.
It's unfortunate.
Too bad, I can't do St. Joseph though, because there's already one down there.
That's true, that's
We have to
true.
call it the German Church Brew Pub.
But same thing,
Yeah, Joe's Place.
there you go,
Here we
so. All right.
Anything else for work session? Okay. Thank you, folks. See you in 2 weeks.
Okay, well,
I got